Many women are out there praying to have a child, and this woman, Diane Downs, was busy shooting her own 3 young children in broad daylight. Please watch till end so we can uncover together the main reasons she decided to end the lives of her innocent 3 children. Please subscribe to my channel, like, and comment your thoughts about this story. Thank you. It was a sunny day in Springfield. Oregon carried the scent of wet pine, drifting across the quiet suburban streets like a whisper. It was the kind of night that should have ended in bedtime stories, soft nightlights, and the gentle hush of children falling asleep. But at precisely 10:48 p.m. on May 19, 1983, the emergency room at Mackenzie Willamette Hospital exploded into chaos. A red Nissan Pulsar screeched to a halt under the harsh glow of the ambulance bay lights. Nurses rushed forward instinctively. Trauma cases rarely arrived in personal cars. Behind the wheel was a small blonde woman with wide, frantic eyes. Her hair stuck to her forehead, her breath ragged, her voice cracking into hysterical shards. "My kids! Help my kids! They've been shot!" Inside the car lay 3 small bodies: Cheryl, 7 years old, Danny, 8, and Christy, the eldest at 9, slumped in unnatural angles across the seats. Blood soaked through the upholstery and pooled in the grooves of the car floor. A metallic tang filled the air. Even the hardened emergency staff stiffened. The woman who brought them in was Diane Downs, a 27-year-old postal worker and mother of 3. She paced and sobbed as a team swarmed the children. But something in her face, a peculiar stillness beneath the hysteria, made several nurses exchange uneasy glances. This night would ignite one of the most chilling and disturbing crime investigations of the decade. To understand the horror of that night, investigators would later rewind Diane's life like a frayed tape, searching for the moment the darkness took root. Elizabeth Diane Fredrickson in Phoenix, Arizona. She grew up in a strict household overshadowed by emotional distance. By her teenage years, she was restlessly rebellious. Friends remembered her as bright but unsettling, prone to dramatic lies, sudden anger, and a constant need for attention. One described her as a girl who needed to be adored like oxygen. At 14, her infatuations took on obsessive qualities. She latched onto relationships with an intensity that frightened boys her age. By 18, she eloped with Steve Downs, a quiet, unassuming man who worked in the military and had little idea what storms lay beneath her charming exterior. The marriage was volatile. Fights exploded without warning, usually traced back to Diane's affairs or her desperate need to be the center of emotional gravity. Still, she had children: Christy in 1974, Cheryl in 1976, and Danny in 1979. Steve later said that Diane treated motherhood like a performance, loving when eyes were watching, cold and indifferent when they weren't. She needed followers, he recalled, even if they were her own kids. By 1981, the marriage collapsed. Diane drifted through jobs and relationships, always chasing validation, always reinventing herself. When she became a postal worker, she found something intoxicating: independence, attention, and a flirtatious workplace that fed her ego. Most importantly, she fell deeply infatuated with a married co-worker, Robert "Nick" Knickerbocker. Their affair burned hot but collapsed when Nick made it clear he did not want children. He did not want the responsibility of raising 3 kids that weren't his. To investigators, this would later become the spark of a monstrous motive. The night of the shooting. According to Diane's initial story, she had taken her children out that evening for a drive through the countryside. They stopped to admire a horse along Old Mohawk Road. On their way back, a bushy-haired stranger stepped into the road and flagged her down. "He wanted my car," she breathlessly told police. "When I refused, he shot my kids." But investigators found the story troubling from the start. For one, Diane herself had been shot, but only in the arm, and a superficial wound at that. It was the kind of injury one could inflict with deliberate precision. For another, the children had been shot at close range, very close. There were no gunpowder burns on the exterior of the car, where Diane claimed the gunman leaned in, and the angle of the shots was inconsistent with someone firing from outside the vehicle. Then there was her behavior. In the ER, while her children fought for their lives, Diane was strangely composed. Her tears came and went, switching on and off with theatrical rhythm. At one point, she commented on how the bullet had missed her beautiful new car. A nurse remembered feeling nauseated. When doctors informed her that 7-year-old Cheryl was dead, Diane's reaction was muted. A single forced sob, a dramatic slump, then a dry-eyed stare that lingered too long. Christy and Danny survived, but barely. Their fragile, broken bodies became central threads in the unraveling of Diane's narrative. A mother under suspicion. Within 48 hours, the police were quietly circling Diane. Detective Doug Welch studied her interview tapes obsessively. Her storytelling was oddly gleeful at times, punctuated with inappropriate laughter. She offered unnecessary details, then contradicted herself minutes later. When asked if she feared the gunman would return to kill her, she shrugged. "I'm not worried. I mean, he probably thinks I'm dead anyway." Her affect was chilling. The public, however, still saw a grieving mother. She made media appearances, leaning forward with rehearsed anguish, describing, always in vivid detail, the stranger who attacked her. But it was an appearance on a local TV station that triggered widespread suspicion. Diane smiled, flirted with the camera, and casually reenacted the shooting, moving her arms as if pulling an imaginary steering wheel, adjusting her hair between gestures. She was enjoying the attention, Welch concluded. Investigators dug deeper. They found her diary, pages overflowing with emotional neediness, sexual obsession, and declarations of love for Nick Knickerbocker. Nick, they learned, had broken off the affair weeks before the shooting, saying he would never be with her as long as she had children. And that prompted her to make a dramatic decision of shooting her children, so they won't be an obstacle in her relationship with Nick, as she's so obsessed with him, and she is ready to sacrifice the life of her 3 children for him. The prosecution would later call this motive one of the most heartless imaginable. Diane Downs believed her children stood in the way of the life and lover she wanted. Months passed. Christy and Danny healed, physically at least, but Christy, the once bright and talkative 9 years old, became withdrawn, trembling at the mention of her mother. Her voice cracked when investigators gently asked about the night in the car. Each interview left her in tears, unable to push the truth past her throat. Therapists worked slowly, carefully. Finally, one spring afternoon, Christy mustered the strength. She stared down at her hands, knuckles white, and whispered the words that shattered every remaining doubt. "Mom shot us." Her voice was so quiet that the investigator had to ask her to repeat it. She did. Christy described the terror inside the dark car, how her mother had pulled to the side of the road, how she had turned slowly toward them, raising the gun, how Cheryl screamed, how Danny slumped, how Christy herself felt the burning shock tear through her chest. She remembered her mother driving slowly to the hospital, deliberately slowing down to let them bleed. Christy's testimony became the emotional heart of the case, delivered in a quivering voice before a silent courtroom, where even the judge blinked back tears. The courtroom in Eugene, Oregon filled every day with spectators. People were desperate to see the woman who could commit such a crime. Newspapers sold out. Television coverage was relentless, and Diane reveled in it. Throughout the trial, she wore bright, stylish outfits. She smiled, often at inappropriate moments. She winked at cameras. She flirted openly with a guard. During breaks, she chatted with reporters as though attending a social gala. Prosecutor Fred Hugie presented a meticulous, devastating case. Ballistic evidence matched the rifle Diane owned. The children were shot at point-blank range inside the car. Diane's wound was self-inflicted. Her diary revealed her obsession with Nick and the problem of her children. Christy testified, shaking, that she saw her mother pull the trigger. When Diane took the stand, she delivered a dramatic monologue, shifting between tearful innocence and icy defensiveness. Her intelligence was undeniable, but so was her inability to understand emotion beyond manipulation. Psychologists later described her as showing textbook traits of narcissistic and antisocial personality disorders. After 36 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for merely 36 hours, guilty on all counts. Diane Downs was convicted of murder, Cheryl Lynn Downs, 2 counts of attempted murder, Christy and Danny, 2 counts of first-degree assault. She was sentenced to life in prison plus 50 years, ensuring she would never again walk free. Christy and Danny found refuge with prosecutor Fred Hughey and his wife Joanne. They adopted the children, who slowly rebuilt their lives under the warmth of a stable home. Christy struggled with survivor's guilt far into adulthood, but eventually found her voice again. Danny, paralyzed from the waist down by the bullet, grew into a young man with remarkable resilience. As for Diane, even prison couldn't steal her hunger for attention. In 1987, she escaped temporarily during a transfer, sparking a nationwide manhunt. She was captured swiftly, but this time, and to the greatest surprise, she was already alive pregnant, and was brought back into custody, and she shows no regrets for what she did to her 3 children. The incident further revealed her delusional belief that she could outsmart the world. In interviews, she continued spinning new versions of her story, sometimes blaming a drug ring, sometimes a mysterious woman, sometimes shadowy enemies only she could imagine. But the truth was already carved into the memory of her surviving children and the thousands who followed the case. She had shot her children not out of rage, but out of cold, calculated self-interest. A legacy of chilling darkness. The Diane Downs case remains, to this day, one of the most disturbing acts of maternal violence in American history. It is a haunting reminder that evil does not always come in the form of monsters lurking in shadows. Sometimes it comes wrapped in smiles and soft voices, in the face of motherhood. Sometimes it comes in the form of those who should love us most. And for Christy and Danny, the scars, both physical and emotional, will forever mark the night their mother turned a gun on them in the quiet Oregon darkness. Yet their survival remains the light inside the horror. They lived, they testified, they overcame her. The final chapter of this story, then, is not about Diane Downs. It belongs to the 2 survivors who broke free from the shadows of a cruel mother. Please, what do you think should be the best punishment for Diane Downs? Let me know your opinion at the comments section, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. See you on my next video.